Hey guys, welcome to the Fingerguns podcast. I'm AJ.
And I'm Harper, and we are your hosts for the evening. I don't think we've ever gone through an intro without laughing.
We always kind of mess up on the intro.
At the end.
Yeah.
I guess we're just...
Because we don't know what... We, write ourselves into a little loophole.
And we're not really used to, introducing ourselves. Maybe we should do that. We should start walking up to people and be like, hi! Really creepy. So, today we're going to be talking about cliches and tropes that we don't like. And...
Yes.
Yep. I guess that's it.
So, cliches are everywhere. Cliches are in movie. Cliches are in real life.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. It was whatever. It's a stereotype that's... Cliches are just they're stereotypes and they're overused and they basically just show a lack of original thought.
Whoa.
And it's just done so many times,
Yeah, whereas a trope isn't necessarily good or bad or overused or underused. It's just something that you can group many different characters into, many different storylines into. It's just something that authors use to further their story. And so every work of literature has tropes. They're not necessarily good or bad, but they can be bad, and they could be cliched.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a rundown of stuff we don't like to see. And we hope you don't like to see these things either.
But cliches can be good if you kind of subvert them and change them.
Subverted tropes are a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump right into it. You can go first.
Okay. I think this is a pretty big one. It's like an umbrella one. So it's called flanderization, and it's basically when a character who's mostly comedy, I think. Comedy uses this a lot. Basically, it's when a character has this one trait in a TV show, and it's kind of funny, and it's like a character flaw. Let's say someone's very clueless or very controlling, or let's say they like to do a certain thing. Let's say they like to roller skate. I don't know. But it's this one trait that kind of makes them unique and it kind of makes you like them. But throughout the show, the creators see that you like that trait about them and then they kind of make that into their whole character. So a girl who might just be clueless for the first season, that ends up being her entire characterization by the 5th season. And there's a lot of this, even on really good TV shows. I think a big one was Monica from Friends.
That's who I thought too.
Mm-hmm. I really liked her character, and then they kind of made her this controlling, this control freak, and she was really annoying at the end, which I think is not cool.
Yeah.
Who else? I think quite a few characters from The Office. They kind of subverted that with Michael, because he starts off kind of goofy and stuff, but then they make him more sympathetic. But they did that with other characters, they did that with Kevin or a few of the supporting characters. So even the best shows can do it. And it's easy to do it because it's what makes people laugh. But then they also lose the characters. So that's one of my least favorites.
Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
Okay. Going off of characters, one of my least favorite cliches is having dumb characters, specifically in horror movies. And I understand why this technique is employed because obviously you have to further the plot. But, in horror movies, there's a sound, and they're oh, I'm going to investigate.
Yeah, it's just, no one would do that in real life. You have to be really dumb.
People are dumb in horror movies, but, it makes it really refreshing to watch horror movies that have smart characters.
Because it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, and you're yes, you're not, the screenwriter is, smart, Get Out.
Yes, the psychological battle.
Such a good movie. Yeah, but I hate dumb characters. I understand why they're there. But yeah, it's refreshing to watch smart characters on the screen in horror movies.
Yes. So would you say that's one of your least favorite, of all time?
Definitely.
Okay.
Watching dumb characters on the screen.
Horror tropes I don't like. That medicine cabinet thing.
Oh my god, when they're looking to the mirror, and then when they close the mirror, there's someone behind them.
Yeah. When you can see they're behind you, the audience can see us behind them, but they don't know, and then they slowly turn around.
No one does that.
No one does that. You would just turn around and smack them over the head. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next ones, we'll run through a lot of different ones. One of the ones I don't like is that like women who are successful have to be very cold and distant, and like they gave up their whole family to like be successful. And I know like that's based on real life, right? Because it's hard to have both. But I feel like just because a woman's successful doesn't mean she like schemed her way to the top. And like that's the problem, because it is realistic and all sorts of people do that. But the fact that they specify it on women, it kind of makes it like, oh, you can't be good at your job and have a good family life, you know? And they don't really do this with men. I mean, they do, but then they don't really. They do sometimes do it with men, but with women, they do it in a negative light. Like, it's meant to show the woman is like cold and distant and she can't really have a family and she needs to be like warmed up. And it's like, no, okay?
It's not what we want to see.
No, we don't want to see it. Because, like, a lot of these films, I guess, they're written. I don't want to say they're written by men, but they are.
They are.
Well, they are. Okay. Yeah. Let's just say they are. And so a lot of times they write their personal experience. Not this isn't all men, but just some men, they write women, like, if they're not interested in the main character of the movie, they must be like this cold person. And it's like, no, you know, sometimes she's just not that into you.
Ooh.
You know? Because, like, in movies, I feel like men can, like, be not interested in girls and it's fine. But then, like, when girls aren't interested in, like, the main character who's male, it's like this thing. And I don't get it.
That's interesting.
You know?
I think that's, like, little misogynistic.
Right?
A little bit.
I mean, I feel like modern writing has, like, kind of subverted it a bit and, like, softened it up, but it's still seen way too much.
So, dumb characters in horror movies is probably my second least favorite.
Oh, we didn't get your least favorite?
Trope or cliche.
Whoa.
I think my least favorite is when there's like a truth serum or it's like truth gas and you're like, you must tell us the truth, you know?
Oh, that's
I think
dumb.
it's so lazy.
Yeah. It's like
you...
Because they don't really exist in real life, so then it's like you get to skip like the story building part to get to, I don't know, it is lazy, you're right. Except I think there was one funny subversion. It was like Ant-Man. Did you watch Ant-Man?
I watched the sequel.
Okay. It was like this truth serum. And it's this guy, and like when you give him truth serum, he talks about everything, like the story of like from his birth to now and how everything led up to the moment. So instead of telling them what he needs to know, he like gets into all this backstory and he like tires them out. They're like, I don't want to hear this part of the truth. And I feel like that's a funny like take on it. So I think that's the thing with cliches, you know, like you can use them and you can make them fun. I think it's purpose. Like if it fits well with your story, then go ahead. But if you're doing it just so you can take a shortcut, people can tell and it's not fun.
Yeah, I feel like in those scenes, well, there's a lot of cliches like that. Mm-hmm. And like the purpose is to like build a lot of suspense. Mm-hmm. But there's good ways of building suspense and there's cheap ways of building suspense.
Yes.
So I think another cheap way of building suspense, when like for example like a time bomb, it's like having like the timers like you know it's like there. I have to like cut this wire and like, but I can see the timer, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think it would make it even more tense if there wasn't a timer.
And so you don't know when it's gonna blow up.
Exactly.
Because I feel like once you put the clock there, everyone knows that as soon as that clock hits 0, they're going to have solved the problem, you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Like right at the last second.
Yeah. I think the only time you use a ticking clock, it's okay, is if it's not the climax of the story, you know? Like if it's just a part of the plan. If that's your whole build-up and to that, it's not interesting. Everyone already knows what's going to happen.
Exactly. It's super predictable. Mm-hmm. Also, when there's timers like that, time goes by super slowly.
I know.
It's like, there's like, because there's usually, when they're trying to deactivate something, there's like something else going on, and you cut between the action, and then it's like 10 whole minutes when it's supposed to be like a 30-second time period.
And so then that's not that's suspenseful either, because when you drag it out that much, it's like, oh my god. Yeah. Like you're gonna start tiring your audience out.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of these tropes, they're like, again, like one person did it well and then they're trying to copy it, but the way they're copying it is like a very cheap knockoff version of it.
Yeah. There are cliches in everything. There are cliches in books. movies,
Oh,
TV shows, and there are also cliches on the stage.
I
Like
mean,
in
oh yeah,
musicals, I've found a couple.
yes.
There's a lot of musicals where there's like the I want song. Like it's a character that's singing about something that they desire. It's not necessarily a bad thing,
It's not.
but I guess structurally speaking, a lot of musicals are kind of similar.
There's like the setup song, and then like there's always this big like ensemble song, the deep song where you like pause in the middle of the second act and then like reminisce, and then you like go on with your journey. It's like, you know, like the hero's journey for books and movies. It's like that for musicals.
Yeah, and there's like I found that there's a few musicals that have argument songs. Those ones are fun. Like one that I really like is from Wicked.
What is this feeling? I love that one.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Rent has this it was cut out from the movie, but they have this whole like, it's their New Year's celebration, and so they have this whole like song about that, and they have like an argument in the middle. It's like a good setup, and then they're like all hanging out having fun, argument, and then it goes back up again. It's like a good like sequence. I like that one. I was thinking,
Or in like
no,
what were you thinking?
no.
What were you thinking?
Oh my god, no.
Harper?
No.
What were you thinking?
No, mine's like starting to veer off topic, so I want you to go first.
I know, I want you to go first.
Oh my god, just go.
I was about to mention a show, but like no one's heard of it, so I feel like it's gonna.
Well, you guys can like keep a notepad next to you when you listen and just write down all the
Write down our
obscure shows.
recommendations. If we're gonna do that, I'd highly recommend Dark on Netflix. Great time travel show. It's a German show. 3 seasons. Oh,
You've plugged the show like twice
chef's
already.
kiss.
Should they sponsor us?
What?
I feel like they should sponsor us with all the plugs.
They should.
we're getting them.
Actually, Netflix should. We are.
What's some of your favorite stuff to watch on Netflix?
My favorite show on Netflix right now, I think, is called 3%. And it's a Portuguese... No, it's not Portuguese. It's a Brazilian TV show. It's like a dystopian kind of a sci-fi thing. Everyone is born in like poor Brazil. And then when people turn 20, they go through this thing called the process, which is... It's almost like the Hunger Games. It kind of feels a little similar to the Hunger Games, but it's like they go through all of these like tests and they're like super crazy. And then 3% of the people who pass get to go to the offshore, which is like the super utopian, like beautiful community. And it's really crazy. Like the writing is great. It's super diverse too.
That's good.
Which is like always a plus.
That's always a plus.
It's a great show, and I feel like it's very underrated and deserves much more recognition than it gets.
Probably. A lot of shows are like that. I'm still watching The Umbrella Academy.
Oh my god, I
It's
started season
very
2
good.
like a couple of days ago.
Yeah, me too. It's super good.
It's really good.
Just everything about that show is very much quality.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
It's like, it's kind of strange, but it's like, it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, there's our Netflix plug. Get them to sponsor us.
Oh my god, imagine. We have a special on Netflix.
What would we do? We just talk.
We could do like a comedy bit.
A comedy
on Netflix.
show. We should do a comedy show. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Anyway, we're getting very ahead of ourselves.
Yes. Excuse us for a second. So I feel like a good time to use tropes and cliches are like I like satire a lot, so I think that's also why. But those are good times to
Yeah.
use all the tropes we talked about. I mean, I guess if you have to use one or two of these sometimes, just make sure they're okay, you know? Just don't use them as like something cheap to get your story along. Just use them wisely and sparingly.
I think what you can do, you can use them as starting points.
Yeah.
And you develop from there.
Yes.
I guess the moral is...
That's a
just
huge
like-
cliche, AJ. Ending this with the moral of the story is.
Whoa.
It's kind of meta.
Well, the...
No.
Okay, whatever.
just-
Cliches are okay, but you know what? Be original. It is worth the hard work.
It is definitely worth the hard work. This was fun for us to do, this episode. It was also very impromptu. But we hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, and you know what? No, I have nothing else to say.
We literally don't have... Oh, we do have some... I do have something else to say. If you guys are supporting us and you go to school with us when we release this episode, I believe, we really hope that we'll see you over whatever the weird online thing is. And if you guys get sad, you can always come listen to our podcast where the coronavirus doesn't exist. It's our escape from the virus, and we want you guys to be able to just, you know, come, relax, maybe laugh. Maybe we made you laugh. We don't know.
Maybe.
We really hope so. But just come. You don't even have to just listen to us. You can like do some exercises.
The whole point.
That's the whole point. We're like background sounds for you. So you can feel like you're hanging out with people. And we really hope that this has helped or like cheered you guys up. And we really miss you guys. So if you ever want, please reach out to us too. We can talk about the podcast. We can talk about not the podcast. Whatever you guys want. Good luck at school. And keep listening to us. We're going to end the emotional part with like a shameless plug of our podcast so that you don't feel like we're too deep, you know, because like we're not into that.
It's a good distraction.
So like please listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I guess that's all that we have for today. We'll talk to you guys next week.
if we're not dead yet.
Bye.